Hello, in this video I will share with you guys some drone cinematography tips. First, you have to ask yourself what is it that you're planning on capturing and why. Just because these days drones are affordable and we can all get aerial shots, it doesn't always mean that you should. Look at the video you're working on and if there is a need for the kind of angles that you can capture with the drone. All too often I see people put aerial shots in their music videos or films when they're really not needed, or even worse, when they're just distracting. Aerial drone shots usually mean that you're going to be up high and far away, getting mostly wide, establishing shots. Now these can be a great way to open a scene and show your audience where the action is taking place. Aerial shots can also be great when trying to show a scale of something, like for example a scale of how small an object is in its surrounding, or vice versa, how big. Finally, drones can also move in a way that traditional cameras can't. Therefore, the right movement can help you tell the story in a lot better way. Whether it's a fast-moving camera that emphasizes speed, or maybe a shot where the camera spins around your object to reveal something about it or its surrounding. Aerial shots also allow you to reveal information that is not visible from the ground level. To achieve these aerial shots that help you tell your story, it's important to first plan out exactly what it is that you're going to film before you even start to set up your drone. I suggest having storyboards or at least a shot list. Once you have a clear image of what you're going to capture, then you can take out your drone. I've used all sorts of drones over the years, from big cinema camera setups to cheap do-it-yourself solutions. Now these days my favorite drone is actually this little DJI Mavic Air. There's quite a few reasons actually why I love this drone. It's not because it's the drone that will give me the best image quality, but more because it's the best value that you will get, especially when working on smaller film productions where you don't have the time or money to bring a big cinema camera drone. One of the things that I like about the DJI Mavic Air is that it's small when it's folded, which makes it very easy to travel with. I can even pack it in my carry-on luggage. But also it's not that much extra weight to carry around, especially when I have to already take with me my big camera bag and a tripod. It's fast to set up and no need to actually attach props. Just literally put in the battery, turn on the drone and then the remote control, and you're ready to go. Sometimes when flying for the first time in an area, you may need to calibrate the drone's compass. The app will let you know when and how to do it. It takes literally about a minute. One of the features I really like about this drone is also the fact that it actually has internal storage, 8 gigabytes of it. And this is really handy, especially a few times already when I either put in a card that I forgot to format, or I sometimes just literally forgot to put in an SD card. But I was already up in the air and I was still able to record to the internal storage. The Mavic Air can also shoot 4K video at 30 frames per second and 24 frames per second, and it records footage at up to 100 megabits per second. Also, it can capture 120 frames per second slow motion in full HD resolution. It also takes 12 megapixel stills. This drone can reach a top speed of up to 43 miles per hour in the sports mode, and it works with both Android and iOS through the DJI's Go 4 mobile app. The remote that it comes with is nice, compact, especially when it's folded, and it's, again, easy to set up. You just attach the thumbsticks, and then you attach the cable to your phone, and you put the phone into the little cradle on the bottom of the remote. I've been able to fly up to 3 kilometers before starting to lose signal between the remote and the drone. The DJI Mavic Air has lots of safety features built in, like the return to home, low battery warning, automatic landing and takeoffs, and it even has 6 obstacle sensors that will stop the drone before flying into any obstacles it detects. Now, unfortunately, the obstacle sensors are only monitoring when you're flying in the forward positions. Same for when you're going back, as there are sensors in the rear. Plus, there's some more sensors on the bottom, which means that if you're flying the drone to the sides or up towards an obstacle, the drone will not stop to avoid it. In those cases, I recommend you always stop and look around through your drone's camera, but also directly looking at the drone yourself to make sure that there are no obstacles where you plan to fly. The batteries are rated a max flight of up to 21 minutes, but in reality, the most I've gotten out of this drone was 17 minutes. Now, on average, I get about 15 minutes per battery. So I would definitely recommend getting extra batteries. I got the Fly More combo, which includes 3 batteries, spare props, prop guards, a really cool, handy shoulder bag, the battery charging hub, and all the cables that you need to connect your phone. Once you get your drone ready, I would also say that it's actually handy to carry with you and use a standard pop-out reflector as your takeoff or landing pad. This will make sure you don't have any obstacles hitting the props, but also it will help avoid the drone to kick up dust, grass, dirt, and anything else up in the air as you take off. Once you do take off, stop the drone at your eye height and inspect to make sure that you don't have any dirt stuck on your lens or sensors, especially when you do take off from grass or dirt surface. You'd be surprised how often people take off kicking up dirt onto the drone's camera, and then they fly around taking all these beautiful shots only to later realize that half the footage is not usable because they noticed all the little dirt and things like that once they view it on their full resolution TV or monitor. And that's because the video feed you're going to see while you're flying the drone will never show you all those little details. Once you have inspected your drone and everything is good, then you can fly to your starting position and then just start knocking out the shots that you have on your shot list. Now treat each shot as a separate take so that you can concentrate on flying smoothly only when it matters. Just do your take as many times as it takes until you get a nice and smooth shot. Otherwise, in between takes, just quickly get the drone into position for the next shots. Don't make the mistakes of just trying to record your whole flight and also this way trying to get this one long smooth takes that I've seen many people do. You'll just end up with one long average looking shot instead of various shots that might be overall shorter but a lot better framed, planned out, etc. That's my next point also. Don't forget to treat your drone just like you would any normal camera. Find the right angle, adjust your composition, set the exposure properly. And the only way to get good looking drone shots is by paying attention to those important basics of good cinematography. Also, don't forget to keep your drone in your line of sight and to keep on looking up at the sky every so on to see where your drone is in relation to nearby trees, buildings, or whatever other obstacles are in the area. Don't just look at the live video feed from your drone thinking that you know where you are. Today's drones fly very fast and you can easily end up flying sideways or backwards into an object and then crashing your drone. It's also very important to be familiar with the local drone laws. These days there's a lot of places where drone flying is heavily restricted or just straight out illegal. Another tip is to keep an eye out on your drone's battery. You definitely do not want to be flying somewhere far away from you when you get the low battery warning. Many times you might think you still have plenty of time to fly your drone back, but in reality, weather can change drastically, and sometimes because of the wind speed and direction, it is actually a lot easier and faster to fly your drone away, but it can take twice as long to fly it back against the wind. Another tip I can give you is to dedicate 75% of your battery to get the shots on your shot list, and then the other 25% of the battery to land, but also to experiment with shots that maybe you didn't plan for, but that are now looking like an obvious choice once you're flying high up there and you see the world from a whole other angle. That's where having spare batteries is really helpful. Don't forget to sometimes just fly the drone to an interesting angle and then leave it there while you get a static shot. Remember that drones should be used just like any other camera if you want to end up with good cinematography. And sometimes it's interesting to move the camera, but at other times it's even better to just get a good static shot. Just because you can fly your drone doesn't mean that every shot should be moving. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys found these tips helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!